So all the way from Fort Lauderdale, I've got Brett Napoli, who is the founder and CEO of Ambition Insight. And Brett, you and I have been having some conversations. And one thing I was pretty impressed with is that you seem to have a pretty good handle on getting websites to perform very, very well. And in fact, we started talking and you started taking a look at Up My Influence and you pointed out a good half dozen things. And I feel like I'm pretty good at what I do. But there were several things that I kind of I was missing out on. And you pointed them out. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to make a huge difference if I make those changes. Can you kind of talk about your role in working with business owners and the performance of their website and getting those websites just to perform better, and the tool that you provide, I think that you do such a great job with, is that you provide audits of these websites, and so I'll kind of turn the time over to you and kind of talk about that process and why that's so important and why it's hard for us to do our own audits.
Sure. So one of the most valuable things that happens when a professional web developer or a person that builds websites regularly comes in and takes a look at an existing site is you get that first impression that someone would get that's never seen it before, plus the expertise of seeing thousands and thousands of different types of website styles and determining which ones are going to create the most value for your end users and ultimately the most value for your business. What I generally find is that most websites have a lot of great content, but they're not delivered in a way that makes sense to the end user. The way that content is written or the way that things are sold is sometimes backwards. They're telling often about what I have instead of what you get. So a business will say, well, I have the best services and I have the best this and we're going to do the best of this and we have all of these great things, as opposed to saying, you are going to have this experience, your business is going to gain from these things, your life is going to be easier because we're going to solve A, B, and C problems for you. So sites are sold a lot about what I have and not about what the consumer gets. So what I do is I'll take a look at a site and try to experience that site from the end user's perspective. Who is that person? What are they looking for? Who's the ideal person? And what is their primary focus? I want to make sure that the primary business services are front and center and easy to find. I want to make sure that what you do and how you do it and why you have value in the marketplace is clearly defined and obvious from your other competitors. So a website audit is just as much of a marketing or online business or sales audit as anything else, because oftentimes you have the person, the team, and then you have the website, and there really is no other representation of the business other than what people are saying in person and in combat or the very, very small moment that someone has for an advertisement. So really this website is the communication of the business as a whole. So what I try to do is make sure that that message is clear, direct, doesn't include any fluff that's not necessary, and that we're focusing on the user and how they are perceiving the site, not on the business and how we want to look.
Yeah, and I should say, as we get started, Brett, that for someone who's hearing this and hear you talk about this, we've actually set up a special discounted offer through Up My Influence for those who are interested. And Brett, I know you're going to share a lot of value in this conversation, but that URL is actually on the screen right now. It's upmyinfluence.com/audit. And when they do that, they can actually just have a conversation with you. And you'll probably take a look at their website like you did with me. And you probably start pointing out a couple of things that I think that they could instantly take action on. And I can tell you that just the things that you pointed out, when and I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about this, is when you pointed them out to me, I was like, duh, like I even tell other people about this, and yet like something as simple as, and we'll actually go through Up My Influence, we'll point out some of the things that you had recommended. Like I teach people don't put your social media icons big and bold up at the top on your website because people are going to click those, get distracted, and now they're off in Facebook land. I had those on my website. I couldn't believe it. So and we'll show you. We'll actually show as when we do a screen share here in just a moment some of the changes that I immediately made. But why is it so hard for us to not see the forest from the trees?
I think because, and I fall victim to this as well when I work on my own site, which you can imagine is difficult. Even though I'm a professional web developer, it's difficult to work on my own site. Just like a person who remodels kitchens, their kitchen is always a project. So I think that oftentimes we go into our messaging without a very, very clear and concise plan, and we're sort of kind of doing it on the go. And the reason that we do that is that when you plan everything out ahead of time, sometimes you'll have this perfectly detailed, prepared pile of content, and then you put it in place and just something will be wrong. So you invested all this time that you now need to lose. So oftentimes we'll kind of go at it just without a plan in mind. What happens is that we try, in the quest to get as much possible content down so that we have volume, we include things that are repetitive, that are redundant, that are not as clear and direct. And when we create something, it kind of kills us to tear it down. So what happens is when we build up all this content, we lose the ability to delete segments because it took us so much time and effort to get there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it took us so long to write all this content. Now we've got it and it's too much, but it kills us to remove it. So that kind of mental block of I created this and now I'm going to go and destroy it can be tough. So it's really easy to just say, I'm just going to put all this out there and everybody's going to comb through this and they're going to find the value hidden underneath.
Yeah. No, they're not. There's two things I'm so excited for you to talk about. Number one is consumer behavior or the average website viewers' behavior and kind of like just how much patience or lack of patience they have today. We'll start with that. Like, what's going on with our website viewers?
So, I mean, every single website is, to use analogies which I use often, is a website is just like a physical storefront. I'm going to spend more time in the paint store than I'm going to spend in probably in a small store, maybe buying a single item, something that's going to take a lot of decision making and time. When someone's on a website, generally speaking, they're staying on that site for less than 3 minutes. The average time that most people will spend on a website is usually 1 to 2.5 minutes. In that 1 to 2.5 minutes, they're looking for a couple crucial things, which is kind of what they're looking for when they vet any business. They're trying to figure out, do I know this person, or can I get a feel for who they are or for what the business is and how they want to convey themselves? Do I like what they have? Do I like the quality of the work? Do I like the things that they're producing? And ultimately, do I trust them? Do I see evidence that proves to me that this is the right decision? So I need to know, like, and trust them. But more importantly than all three of those things, which takes precedent over them all, is can they give me what I want? Is this company equipped to create and produce the and solve the problem that I have? So number one is, what do you do and can you help me? And then, do I know, like, and trust the business? So I always make it of the highest importance that it's really, really clear what we do at the highest level, and it appeals to our target customer more so than everybody. So if, for example, if my business offers web development services, but we also offer graphic design and search engine optimization and branding and website audits and a variety of other things, I'm not going to say, hey, we have all of these things. I'm going to do it like a restaurant and say, the best burgers in the West. We have we have every other dish, but we really, really will kill it on these burgers. So I'm really just taking a position and a stance and saying, this is where I'm the greatest. If you're the ideal customer for me, you're probably interested in these things. We also happen to have great fries and great milkshakes and other great things here at our restaurant or our business or our service industry. So it's all about what do I do the best, and does it appeal to my target customer beyond all else? If I could get my highest margin, highest value item, and highest value person really clearly and simply, then the other people will come along with it. Or I could just make a whole business based on serving that one type of person or business really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what kind of, and we're talking about an audit, and someone's probably, watching or listening to our conversation, and they're wondering, can this really make a big difference? And can you kind of work through the math of like percentages of like, listen, if people are looking for this, they're not finding it or they're not connecting with you and they're bouncing off your website. I mean, that's lost business. It's lost. Yeah. And, there's no way to reclaim that if we're not giving them what they're looking for. Can you kind of talk about what kind of improvements are possible in terms of revenue, business, engagement, sales, all that sort of thing?
What I find is that investments that I make into my own site, content development, improving the speed, new graphics, new search engine optimization, and keyword techniques, I generally find that I find a 5 times return for the amount of money that I invest, usually within the first 12 months. So if I put $5,000 into my website, I should expect $25,000 of gross revenue as a return from that in 12 months. And that's just a number that I find to be true based on my past experience. It could be higher than that, it could be less than that, but the idea is that if your website is your physical storefront today. In fact, some could say that it's more powerful and more important than a physical storefront because I could search it from somewhere else. I could visit it from the other side of the globe. It's in my pocket, it's in my hand, it's on my computer, it's everywhere. So really it is everything. It is the whole business for lots of different types of businesses. And even traditional businesses like clothing are seeing a major transition where people would rather try them on at home and ship them back. So the internet and your website becomes home base for the entire planet, the global organization. Yeah. So it really is the most dynamic, expandable, powerful messaging, marketing, function, and operations tool that is all encompassing. It is everything. So if you can get people to your site, that is like the ultimate challenge. And there's a variety of ways that we do that. But so many people forget about once we've gone through all of the hard work of getting them to the site, do we close the deal once they're there? So we have to make sure that even if I have the best billboards on the biggest highway with the best ads and the best TV commercials, if when you walk in the door, I don't properly merchandise my store so that you buy the items that I want you to buy, then that billboard is irrelevant. So the idea is that when someone walks in the store, just like a clothing store will merchandise their items. It's the hot new item of the season. It's the item that's on sale. It's the highest margin thing. Summer's coming, we got all the swim trunks up front. Winter's coming, we got all the jackets up front. All those high margin, hot items that we want to move quickly. We merchandise the store. We react to the way that people behave once they walk in the store. How long are they in the store? If we know that every person that comes in the store buys socks, put the socks at the back. Put the milk at the back. We're going to try to control the way that person interacts with that website just like they would interact with a grocery store or with a traditional brick and mortar store. It is the exact same thing. All things translate. So use the example of the grocery store. It's like we want to put that milk in the back. We want to put the thing that we know you're coming here for further away, and we want to put the thing that we want to sell you that's a high margin item right up front where you can't miss it. If it's about to be July 4th weekend, there's a whole bunch of beer stacked up at the front of the grocery store. And that's because people are coming in there to buy it. If it's at the front, I might buy 2 cases instead of 1. So when it comes to your website, it's like, I would rather sell you a website for $15,000 than I would rather sell you some a small bout of search engine optimization for a few $1,000s. So I want to focus on my highest margin items, get somebody in the store where I really, really can hit, and then make sure that all those ancillary items are represented in the order in which I want them to see them. So my navigation bar is like how somebody walks through the store. The behavior through Google Analytics is like the most detailed information about the way that someone travels through your store that you could ever have. It's better than a storefront. It is the ultimate data. So it's like, if you have all of this data and we have the ability to move things around and adapt with our websites, then really what we need to do is we need to react to what's happening, but we need to focus on simplicity. So that if I show this website to someone that is 13 years old, that is uneducated in my business, could they tell me what this is in 30 seconds. And if they can't, that's probably a problem. So even the most complicated of businesses aren't necessarily purchased by the most educated of consumers. If I want to buy cybersecurity software, I may just be a big company and I'm a person at that company that needs to find a great cybersecurity team. I know we need it. I'm a highly technical person, but I don't know about cybersecurity. When you think about how a cybersecurity website would be laid out, you'd think it has to have all these technical details and specs and I need to educate the client. What I really need to do, at least in my opinion, is I need to comfort them. Let them know that you're safe with us. We have 24/7 monitoring centers. You're going to be protected. You're secure. Here's the guarantee. Here's the policy. Let me make you feel good without overwhelming you with statistics and data. It's basically the difference between how Apple sells a computer versus how other computer companies sell computers. Apple sells it on design and aesthetic and all the things that you can do, whereas other companies will sell based on the statistics, how fast it is, and what it can physically do. So it's just two different schools of thought, but I think that your website needs to sell based on how I'm going to feel about it and tell me what I'm going to get as a result. Prove that you can create that value. And the way that you're going to do that is by laying out the content in a way that appeals to me and walks me through the sales process, much like it would if I was sitting right next to you in person.
Yeah. And so, and again, we have a link right on the screen. It's at upmyinfluence.com/audit. But Brett, can you kind of explain what the audit process is like and how much does it cost?
Sure. So generally speaking, I would consider a small audit to be a price of $4.99. What that would basically entail is between 2 to 3 hours of workable time where we would not only review what the details of the site are, but I would go to the page and make some analysis about what is the most important client? What do they look like? How much do they spend? What are they looking for? Where are they coming from? So I'm going to ask a bunch of questions about the business and how it works. What are the nuances of it that make it special? What gives you an advantage in the marketplace? So I first understand the business. Then I look at the website and make sure that it's properly transmitting that message to me and to the end consumer. So it's take all of those value items and ask them about the business, learn about it, and then go to the website and make sure that that's being communicated effectively. Now, the second more detailed audit would be a $9.95 audit, and that would be a little bit more detailed. That would be a longer initial consultation. That would be a longer review at the end of all of the details, and it would be a multi-page report where we literally go page by page, section by section, investigating the navigation bar, the way that the page loads, the way that the content is presented, the way that the product is sold, and just going and making specific individual suggestions about small changes you can make to your nav, different changes on how you write your content, maybe the size of your images are too high, and just making details that will improve not only the user experience, but the overall look and feel, the amount of time that someone spends on the site, the ability for more people to find the site through search engines, and then also how to react and adjust to the data that your website gives you once you actually manage to get them there and make the adjustments that we make. So it's very, very specific. It's screenshots of pages with arrows and red boxes and highlights and different details about those elements. And really, it's just as much of a business audit as it is a website audit. It's understanding the business and how it works and making sure that this particular messaging tool properly conveys that and appeals to the ideal consumer quickly and efficiently. So that's really what it consists of.
So I would imagine you've had some pretty decent success stories with clients, because if they've got, if their average lifetime, their ALV for a sale is a couple $1,000, and they're able to get one more sale every few months as a result of making the right changes to get more appointments, to get more closes, that sort of thing. It's not hard to work out the math on this, is what I'm feeling.
Right, because what I find to be almost even a better argument, I suppose you could say, than the potential upside, which is obviously tremendous. If you're on the web initially, you understand the scalability, the durability, the flexibility of it. I could translate it into 150 languages in 1 second. I mean, how can you beat that? It is the ultimate sales tool. It is the ultimate salesperson. Really, it is better than any salesperson could ever be. And when you really think, some people will fight that, but that is totally the truth. So the idea is that not only does it create all of this additional upside and the ability to generate new leads, well, think about the money that it saves. Most people forget about the loss and the bleed of money that comes from buying external advertisements, taking all of that effort to get people to their page and then losing them. Generally, I would say that like your average business, even a small business, is going to spend between, let's say at the absolute least, $1,000 to, let's say, even just to use a number, let's say $10,000 a month in advertising. A business that generates a fair amount of money will be spending that conservatively, $1,000 a month. So even at the low end of that spectrum, if you're losing 40% of those people that you're spending $1,000 a month to get to your site, that's $400 a month every single month that you're losing because somebody clicks on an ad at $1 to $2 a click, gets to your site and goes to Facebook, or gets to your site and doesn't know what it's about, or it loads too slow, or there's a link that's dead, or the navigation doesn't make sense, or the way that the products and services are laid out don't make sense, or a form is broken, or a form asks too many questions so they don't fill it out. I mean, the depth in which you can bleed somebody that you've taken so much effort and money to get to your business, the amount of people that you can lose is quantifiable. And it's just like, if you're at the low end of your spectrum, at $1,000 a month of advertising spend, you're losing $400 a month. So it's just like $400 a month. That's $5,000 a year that you're losing by just people not converting when they get there. And most people and most companies are spending more than $1,000 a month. They got a Facebook ad, and they got a social media person, and they have a couple small ads in maybe a newspaper that they like, or a website that they like, or a newsletter. They've got things that are happening, and there's effort going out and physical cash being spent. And they're bleeding it because when they land on the page, I've taken all this effort to get you in. But when you walk in the door, there's a light bulb out. The highest margin items are not up on the front. Your inventory is low in menswear, and we know that a lot of men come into this store. Your women's wear is all the winter stuff, and it's about to be summer. You got to be moving it. You have to be adjusting it. You have to be thinking about the consumer and taking care of them once they get to your page. And so oftentimes we'll take something 70 to 80% of where it needs to be, and we'll say, this is good enough for now. And what happens is it stays there forever. Now that would that wouldn't be a big problem if we weren't actively spending money to send people there. So just like you wouldn't send somebody to an 80% completed storefront, you don't want to send them to an 80% completed site. So unless your site is operating at the highest level, has been professionally reviewed and tested and troubleshooted and managed, you're losing money. Forget about the upside, you're losing money. And that's a much different sales pitch, because it's just like, not only do you have all this tremendous upside, you could bridge that delta of the money that you're actually spending. So your money is more efficient, your customer acquisition cost goes down, the user experience is better, the way that the website and the business is sold is better. It becomes more of a tool where you spend less time on the phone answering questions. What are your services? How do you do it? Do you have a guarantee? Put an FAQ on your site that details and answers questions. So there's so many ways to have this site be the ultimate sales tool. That something like an audit can be of tremendous value, because not only does it make very objective, specific examples of what you can change, but it changes your mindset about what somebody is doing when they come on this page. What are they really thinking about? And oftentimes we don't think that far, because we're too close to the business to see the depths of what the customer really, really cares about. And it's not the About Us page. It's not. Most people put that About Us page. They care, but they don't care as much as they care about, do I know, like, and trust you? Can you do what I want you to do? Can you do it at the rate and the time frame that I want? That is of far more importance than who you are. I'm going to figure that out first. Then I'll go find out who you are. Give me the ability to know, but don't make it first. Little details like that will change how somebody interacts with your page and what they ultimately buy.
I bet there's one thing that probably drives you crazy, like it drives me crazy. I see it all the place, where this giant, they're taking up all this real estate. It's ugly. And it's their big call to action is subscribe to our newsletter for updates. Like, I can't imagine that has a conversion rate anywhere in whole numbers.
Well, I think that every much like any physical storefront, you can say, what's a physical storefront? Well, there's 80 million ways to monetize a 40 by 40 box. And your website has its own nuanced details that that are going to make certain things work really well and other things not so much. So in some cases, things like email newsletters and the fact that you have a cultivated list that you can hit, even maybe not now but later in the future, is like a hedge against loss. So for example, I follow a really popular YouTube channel that some could say maybe has questionable views. Let's say it's very heavily political. Let's just use that as an example. One thing that they do is they collect email addresses as a hedge to the possibility that their YouTube channel could be blocked or their Instagram could be taken down because their political views are no longer viable. Now they have this list where they could say, hey, army of people, not maybe I could use a better word than army, but hey, group of people that are following me and digesting my message. I'm going to send out, here's the URL where you find me now. I'm not on YouTube, I'm on Vimeo. I'm not on YouTube,
right.
I'm on the platform. So it's a nice insurance policy. So it has value. And
right. And Brett, I think what I was speaking, email collection is vital. It's like, it's critical, it's mandatory. But I think the way you ask it, I think most consumers see their email address as currency. It's like, look, if I give you my email address, it better be for something pretty good. Like, there better be a really good reason for me to give that to you. Yes. And so my belief is that it takes a lot more than just saying, subscribe to my newsletter for updates. That's not valuable. But like, if you offer something like, so what we do is, can you actually pull up my website and let's talk about some of the, and I want to talk about just some of the things that you pointed out, and hopefully it'll allow you to share your screen. Yep. And we'll actually have that in a video on the website as well. So for someone who's listening to this conversation, the audio, and just know that at upmyinfluence.com/audit, you can actually see a video of what we're going to look at.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay. So you gotta kind of want to go through some of the details about this site and what my thoughts are initially about ways that this could be improved, maybe the good and the bad. Is that right?
Yeah, and and I'll just point out there were a few things that we've already changed that I'm so happy that we made those changes. The biggest one is that first menu item it now says schedule a call, and that's super valuable because that's what we want people to do.
Yes.
Because if I can talk with them on the phone and I can solve their publicity, authority, visibility, media problems, they're not getting influencers, I can help them fix that. That's a big step toward our engagement together and potentially paid engagement together. Yep. And so before, schedule a call was just a button down on the page, it wasn't even in our menu. I just kind of counted on people to just see it somewhere else on the page. And then we also reduced the size of our logo, and we were able to add one more menu item, our clients, which our client success really sells the value of working together with us. And so if I can get someone to see some of our client success, I know that that's going to make a big difference on someone who's just kind of checking me out.
Sure, absolutely. So the most glaring elements of this audit, you've already made the changes on, which I applaud you for that. And what they were initially was, like you had just said, is that making the schedule a call more prominent, essentially putting in that primary position on the navigation bar, the thing that we want you to do the most, and following that second position up with the thing that's going to sell you the highest value item, my highest margin item, my front table when I walk into a clothing store, all that stuff that I want to make sure that everybody sees, the freshest, hottest new thing that is why they're there. So the first thing is, and the first thing that I noticed is this pop up here. The way that I feel about pop-ups is I feel that pop-ups are cool because they prompt you to do something.
That one, just in case, that was an exit intent pop-up. So your mouse went above, and that's when that one came up.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that I appreciate exit intent ones, but I don't like pop-ups on the homepage because it basically says that the most important thing on this entire website that I want you to do and that I want to capture for you is not even on it. And it says to me that I want you to take this quiz, but technically it's already right here. So it's like I was going to see that anyway. So I would say that pop-ups, even exit intent pop-ups on the homepage are generally a no-no. I would try to make sure that they're at least on page 2 or page 3. Now, this doesn't apply to all. This doesn't apply blank. This is not a blanket statement for all businesses and all websites. I think that there's lots of different things that make one different than the other. I think for yours, because we have so much other stuff going on here, because we have lots of content, and I'm clearly here to research and find more about, I don't want to anticipate that you're going to be running out the door and say, hey, I noticed that you walked in, like, here, take a free sample quick. Kind of believe that the storefront and that the way that I've laid it out will do the best that it can to capture you initially. And if you have a pop-up come through on page 2 or page 3, that's great. Now, if your data tells you otherwise and your analytics tell you otherwise and say, hey, this pop-up intent is closing deals like crazy, of course use that. But my initial thought is that as a new visitor to the site, I don't want to see a pop-up before I have a chance to digest anything. So to me, it's like, now I got to take action. Now I got to click X. I got to close this out. Now, on top of that, I also have this bar sticky at the top, which prompts me for this quiz again. So it's like, it really wants to hit me on this quiz. It's more than obvious that you want me taking this quiz. I see it here. I see it here. The pop-up is a little too much. It almost assumes that I'm not paying attention at all. So I think that the way that that pop-up comes in is not the best.
Right.
Now, I like that this clearly explains what the business is. It says what we are and what we do for you. What do I get? Quickly establishes what it is. I like that there's a video here. If somebody can take the time to create a well-produced, well laid out, graphical video with great audio that explains it in 3 minutes, that's fantastic. I think that that's a great thing to lead with. Now, I think that the way that this content is written is well done. It's large, it's to the point, it's clear, and it's concise. The only thing that I would say is that instead of putting something that's more like the type of thing that you would see as like the title of a book, as the title of a chapter in a book, as opposed to the title of the book. That's what I feel like this is doing. And let me see if I can explain that. When somebody is in a book, when I'm reading a book, if I'm on chapter 7, that chapter could have a very short, very vague, very kind of gray title that doesn't really tell me much. But because I'm in depth with that book, I'm on chapter 17, I know exactly what they mean. When I'm on a website, I want to think like the title of the book. The title of the book would be something that would be more obvious. 10 ways to graduate college with no debt. Something that's simple that tells me what it is and why. When it says when your respected people hit reply, I get that if I'm deep, but I don't get that necessarily if I'm on the homepage. I would want to have something here that would be more something like, we're an influencer agency that guarantees people will reply to your emails. Something like that. Tells me what the business is and makes it a little bit less gray, a little bit less chapter 17, and a little bit more title of the book.
Yeah.
Also, I think that there's an opportunity right here for a call to action. I think that this is a nice open spot here that I'd like to see. Click to call now, or maybe another take the quiz or something like that. But a click to contact us, a click to view services right here would be good.
Okay.
Otherwise, these are good. Nice icons, simple, clean, easy to explain or easy to view. I like the large buttons. I like the bright colors. I think that those are good. Cool. The only thing that I would say other than this is we have too many colors. We have blue, and then we also have green, and then we also have a purple here, and then we also have a yellow, and then we also have an orange, and then we have this in green. So text green, text blue, then we've got different colors. So we want to limit the amount of colors that we've got and have try to have some more consistency. So for example, every single button on the website is going to be yellow and blue, or it's going to be orange and blue, or whatever, but we use only those 2 or maybe 3 colors for all of our buttons. When it comes to things like this orange, purple, green here, if we could try to make these maybe all gray or all a single color so that I'm not distracted by the color of the icon, but I'm more focused on the text that it contains, I think that these would be a little bit more effective. Make them gray and then I'll read the box. You make them colored, it makes me look at the icon. In addition to that, the icons are pretty large. Maybe make those icons a little bit smaller and maybe add an additional sentence to that text or something like that. Or maybe a header above each one. Like, for example, we help you grow, you own and grow your authority as an influencer in your space. So maybe the title, the text that would appear up here in the place of this big icon, maybe the icon becomes smaller and there's a little title. Maybe it would say, grow your influence. And instead of saying, we help you own and grow it, it would say, we help you own and grow it by doing A, B, and C. Same thing here. Instead of the, I also try to remove words that are generally, I try to remove words that are not absolutely pertinent. So instead of you use your or we use ours, instead try to make it just to the point. Own and grow your influencer. Own and grow your authority as an influencer with A, B, and C. Instead of we help you, you use yours. So try to minimize those things.
Okay.
Okay, so now I like how the phone number is prominent. I like how it's click to call. I think that's fantastic. I think the login button jumps out at me because it has another color. But again, remember, we got blue, we have orange, we have black in the logo. We got a green here. We got an orange here. We got an off blue here. We scroll down, we got green again, and then we got orange and purple. Too many colors, we need to limit that. So now let's go to like our schedule a call page. Now, schedule a call page, cool. And again, we also have to remember this. It's easy for me to just rip this thing apart because it's like, is you changing the image that appears in this 30-minute chat the highest and best use of the next 30 minutes of your time? Maybe not. Maybe there's a lead you could follow up. There's a call that you could make. So this is not intended to break down what's there, but just to say, in a perfect world, we want to strive towards this. So again, I see a big green here on this schedule, which is different than the blues and the oranges and other things that I've seen. So I want to make sure that these bars are consistent. I'll get to this. I'll get to what just happened there. So I would try to maybe switch these icons, maybe put a 30-minute in this icon, use these thumbnails to highlight something about.
Oh, right.
30 min, maybe this one just says 30 min and then a little clock icon. This one says 30 min plus interview and a little icon. Again, consistent image sizes all the way down the line would be, would be helpful. Now, but otherwise these are pretty good. They clearly explain what they are and what they're for. The only recommendation that I might have for this section would be to increase the font size here.
Yes.
Here and here to properly segment each of these things as being different services.
Maybe different categories.
Maybe consider centering these so that they don't appear nice and blend in line with these three. Center them and increase the text size. That way these segments are separated out. So that would be there. So let's go to our services page. Now, things like, again, I'm all for the reduction of unnecessary text. Instead of our clients, I would consider clients instead of our.
Oh, okay, wow.
Podcast. I try to reduce words that may be unnecessary. Things like learn more about our services, I would consider trying to reduce that to a single line so it's consistent. I'll do something like view all services in this position. Let's see, add services and pricing. When I see the word add, to me that means in addition. I don't know if this is talking about add services like an advertisement or if it means, so I'm unsure about
actually buy the stuff. I mean, this is a checkout page. What's unique about how we operate is it's, you add them to cart. We don't do contracts, and we try to make it as simple as possible.
I would consider changing that word or removing it entirely and doing something more along the lines of, services, specific pricing or shop for services, something that's a little bit more obvious than add.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that, so like things like this where it says like hire Josh to speak, and then this one would be, this could be something like public speaking. We are assuming that we're hiring you because it's in the services. So something like public speaking under the category of services would make sense. So again, these little differences between, do I want to click on this, can make a big difference. So here on the services page, this would be ideal if it said something like view all services, pricing, media celebrity launching pad, if that's the name of the product, total authority makeover, and then public speaking, something like that, or speaking. Now, when it comes to things like total authority makeover and media celebrity launching pad, we can call it the total authority makeover, and that could be the name of our flagship product. But we may want to do something that's a little bit more obvious, depending, so that it makes me want to click on this. Like, for example, full site audit, full authority audit, things like that. Where what exactly does total mean? What exactly does makeover mean? Can we make can we make this more digestible so that I'm willing to click it? Because all you need me to do is open the door. The only things that these could do is like make me not want to open it. I want to know your services, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to get when I click on this. So it makes me hesitate. So that nice consistency to those menu items make it really digestible to click on. Now, this I don't like primarily because I lose my nav. So now I'm trapped. I feel like I just walked through the door, and as soon as I walk through the door, I turn around to go back out that door, and there's no door there anymore. So now I'm in prison. So now the first thing to do if I don't want to watch this masterclass, because I don't even remember how I got here because I don't think I clicked on masterclass, I have to now exit your website. Now it's prompting me again after I'm always in. I'm scared now. Now I want to go away. I don't like how it sent me elsewhere. So now I got to go back. And some people don't even know that they can go back. So then I got to reload the page, and it's like, wait, where was I? So
if you want to put them onto a landing page, because that's part of this funnel now, what do we do?
My opinion is that all websites or all pages and areas of a website that are linked to from the primary navigation bar must have consistency in both the top nav as well as probably I would say the footer as well. So any page that I click in this nav will allow me to retain this nav on that page so that I'm 100% in control of the navigation through this area without you trapping me in a spot. So especially when I don't even remember what I clicked on to get to that masterclass. It might have been the launching pad. That's probably what it was.
It was the authority makeover. Launching pad's going to do the same thing, put you onto a landing page.
So if I click authority makeover and when I land there, it doesn't say total authority makeover, it says masterclass. Now I'm confused. Now it's
yeah.
It's all about consistency. It's all about knowing where I am inside the store. I need to be able to know where my exits are, where the front, where the back is, where the section that I want to go to is. You want me to be empowered and in the know at all times. Don't take my nav away. Don't take my footer away. Let me be able to navigate where I want when I want to. And if you're going to call something, make sure that you call it that consistently throughout the board. Every time you mention this media celebrity launching pad, it's called a media celebrity launching pad. When I go to that page, it's called a media celebrity launching pad. It's always referred to as that when you're on the phone, when you're writing an email. It's consistently across the board.
Okay.
That is really important. So now it's like, you know what I mean? I'm hesitant to click on these because I know that I'm going to have to back out of it. So it's like I go and I click on my launching pad and it's like.
Yeah, that's going to do the same thing, put you onto a.
Yep. So I'm scared now because it's like, oh, now I see a credit card. Now I'm really scared because I didn't know that I was even buying anything. And now I have.
Yeah.
And you could have, for lack of a better analogy, there's no foreplay. It's just like, do you want to go right now? It's there's nothing that's welcoming me in. I didn't feel that I was ready for this. Yet here I am. Somebody asked me.
So a link to this would not belong in the menu.
I don't know. I don't know that it doesn't belong in the menu. I would say that what does belong on this page is the nav. The page is
navigation. Right.
Gotcha. Is that this seems like a squeeze page. This seems like a landing page. It should be used for that. I could direct ads here, but I don't know that I would make a navigable top level nav page like this, especially considering that the background is different. Most people are like, wait, I'm on a different website. We got different fonts, different colors. I'm lost. And the last thing that I want to do is go pay $3.99 now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because of the way that this pulled me in. I feel trapped, sort of. So especially because I didn't know what it was going to do. And instead of it saying, here's what you're going to get, you're in the right place, it says, do you want to buy this? So a little bit softer on the approach, a little more, give me a back rub first when it comes to selling that. Now, also, I generally feel that whenever I do something on a website, much like I would design remodel a house right now, I want to take into consideration what looks good today, but what will stand the test of time. Meaning that if I was to look at this website 4 years from now, would I be like, ooh, I don't like how that looks, that's old school. Things that are unnecessary in terms of what I would refer to as website furniture, or things that are otherwise not providing a specific purpose, I want to eliminate. When I go to this ad services page, I don't believe that the green border is necessary on any of these units here. I don't believe that a green border is necessary in this box, or this box, and I definitely don't believe that it's necessary around this primary area. So even though it does segment the areas, I feel there are other ways that could be done without the border. If you're going to use the border to segment this bottom area, then don't use it to segment these 3 top areas. Maybe use something like a gray background or a slightly off-color background to show that they are different, but don't use that same strong, super loud border because it distracts me. It distracts me from what you want me to be paying attention to. Otherwise, on this page, I think that everything is good. So I'd say just eliminate that. Eliminate that border. Again, with the button colors, be very cognizant of that. Every button, you have dark green button, light green button, light blue button, orange button, just in my visible vicinity here. We want to make sure that we have a primary button color, which is the one that we want people to take action on most importantly and above all else. That is our primary mega color. So that could be the blue, that could be the orange, that could be this green. It probably wouldn't be the yellow. Maybe, but definitely one of the brighter ones, the blue, orange, or green. And we make sure that every primary button is that color, and every secondary button is something that's less attention grabbing. When I look at these buttons, green and blue, I see no difference hierarchy of importance between these 2 buttons. One of them doesn't seem more valuable than the other. If I had a button that was red and a button that was gray, you would know that the red was more important. If I had a button that was bright green and then dark green, you would know the bright one is more important, and so forth. You want to try to create a more muted color for the less secondary button than you do for the primary. And generally speaking, you should really only have 2 button colors for the whole entire site. For the most part, that way everybody always knows. Let's jump over to our clients section. Okay. This page is not bad. Only recommendation that I would have for this page, the first and only thing that I say is
actually, there's a problem with that little thing at the top there. That should be showing you logos. So there's something wrong with the little plugin that's supposed to be scrolling through those logos.
So in the event that there's an issue such as that, we can use what's called a comment. In HTML code, as well as in PHP and CSS, there are what are called comments. So here it is now, it's starting to work and I didn't do anything. So chances are there's just probably issues with the first carousel of images. These images right here or something like that. I don't know. But either way, if it wasn't working, it would be better for it to not exist at all So I would do what's called the commenting this out. And a comment in HTML code, for example, would look like this. it would be.
Yeah, right.
And then close caret in
Sure.
CSS, it would be this. So, or I forget which one it is. I think it's that one.
Well, yeah. So thank you. What I'll do is I'll just change that so that we don't have a technical problem with that.
Exactly. Temporarily.
That's easily solvable.
Yep. Temporary hide until it's fixed. Now, things about emphasis. Emphasis are really important when it comes to a page and how someone digests it. When I look at this page here, I see, and again, I'm picking out like the specifics of the specifics. This is, like I said, perfect world. When I click on Money Answers, launches a new one, okay, perfect. So the fact that our quotes have points that are highlighted in bold, I think is great. I think that they should have that. Give me the home run hit. Make it so that make it sure I don't even have to read it. But what I don't want to see here is I don't think that the name needs to be bold because it takes my attention away from the text. And since this is already emphasized in the sense that it's separate from the rest, it's near a logo, it's near a domain, this could be not bold and it would draw my attention more to the bold in here. With all this extra bold, it just takes my eyes away from the true POW, which is inside these quotes. So if I was to take these bolds away, maybe make them italic instead of bold, if you really want them to be different, but definitely make them not bold. And then these large blocks and chunks that are bold here, because
that's kind of too big.
I'm going to read.
If everything is bolded, nothing is bolded.
So just looking at this in 10 seconds, this is what I would highlight. I would say, Josh is a guiding light.
Yep.
And I would say, gain a massive audience. That's it. And the rest of this would not be hired.
Sure.
Now, this one, best thing that happened to my soccer business in 9 years. Okay, doesn't apply to everyone, but okay, so I'd remove the bold here and I would do grow your brand, or this is the place to do it. I would probably do grow your brand, and then I would do something like featured in over 10 different influencers magazines, like that. And those would be the only two things I'd highlight in that one.
Okay.
For this one, Josh stands out, adding value to their product. For this one, bring out the best parts and probably stand out from the rest. You got to think about it, like, if I was to go down this page, I always tell people this, if I was to go down this page and all I read was the large text and the bold, would I be sold? Right? Would I be sold on this page if I only could read what is listed in bold and what is listed in the blue? So if you think of the page like that, then it's like, Josh is a guiding light, gain a massive audience, land me a placement in a major business publication. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm reading this and it's like, wow, grow my brand. Wow, stand out from the competitors. These all sound like home run hits to me. I don't care so much that this is the best thing that happened to the soccer business, but what I do care about is that I stand out from my competitors. Highlight those things in these things, and people will read just that, and that's what'll sell them. For these ones, again, we've got large text, and then we have like a bold here. Maybe make these not bold because there's a lot of chaos happening here, a lot of text, a lot of images. So maybe simplifies these, shorten them, or make them not bold. Otherwise, these are great. I mean, review videos, that's killer. Can't beat that. Going over to the podcast page. This is good. I would try to maybe say who this person is versus it just being. Sure. I try to say, this. Seems obvious. Seems obvious because it says it right here, but throw it over here too.
No, she deserves the caption.
That goes there. Otherwise, this looks great. Yet again, another button style, not too good. I would say that you take some of the text out of the button and make the button say apply now, and then have
apply to be a guest.
Right? Would you like to be interviewed in large text? Apply now in the button. Apply
now is just the button. Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like, is this a graphic? Is it a button? It's too large to be a button. I don't know. Confusing. Friction point. Bad. Okay. Blog. Blog page looks good. Nice graphics. Large text. short segment, short excerpts, good flow. Only recommendation on this page would be increase the total number of visible posts on this page. That way it takes up the full length of this right sidebar. Because changing that one individual setting will apply.
Yep, that's easy.
And that'll look nice and clean.
Great.
Yeah. I'm killing it here. Killing it. Absolutely killing this. Stay humble, right? Okay. This page here, and I want everybody to remember, I have not looked at these pages with depth until right now. This is the initial, I've gone to this website, sure. I've looked at a couple pages, but this is not, I have not by any means looked at this with any level of significant depth. So this is just the type of stuff that you would get on, right off the bat. Even in a one-to-one session, and the value of these things is tremendous, beyond just the stuff that I'm noticing in the first minute. In a true audit, there would be more depth to each page. There would be individual drawings and examples, so there would be more than just the comments. And I could make suggestions about how you write the text, or what it should be, or what colors those buttons should be, and a variety of other things. The more time that you allow me to audit it, the deeper and the more valuable the output is going to be. On here again, I like how these icons are smaller, but the variety of colors I believe is a little distracting. But otherwise, this is pretty good. Nice clear layout. For this, the only thing I would say about this is a super text-heavy spot. I think that most people are not afraid of the scroll. I would say make this full page width, and then take this piece and put it underneath it, and don't be afraid of the scroll. If it deserves more prominent real estate, create an additional page for this, or for this, or for something like the values and core values. Maybe make a page specifically for that, or take all this stuff about the team and put this on its own page, because there's plenty of good stuff there. So maybe make the team its own page and the about something separate. The only other thing I would say on that page is maybe a photo, like a big nice stock photo or something like that. When I click on let's see, press about Josh, and again, I always default to simplicity in these nav items. I don't like these sentences, so this should just almost say, this should just be, about Josh Elledge. The press almost implied, because we want them to, if you think that people are going to call it press, or going to be more apt to click on something that says press, make it press. If they're going to be more apt to click on about Josh, make it about Josh. What I've done in the past on some of my sites is I'll have a press page that is basically just the part of this section that's press, which is like mega sized. And then there'll be a second page that's about Josh. And then it may highlight some of those and direct you there, or you literally might duplicate the entire page. That way it appears on both. But if you believe that there's a lot of value to both of these, make a press page, make an about Josh page, and separate them or duplicate them so that one appeals more towards one versus the other.
Wow.
On my website, I have a page under services called public speaking, which is basically a duplicate of the about Brett Napoli page on my site. The only difference is the about Brett Napoli site talks a whole lot more about me, whereas the public speaking talks a whole lot more about the service of public speaking. But they both list every speaking engagement that they've ever had. They both list all of my photos. They both have similarities, but they present the information in two different ways so that someone could digest it in totality at either position. So the 150 podcasts Josh has appeared on, again, I would try to see if I could find a way to simplify that, like podcast interviews, and know that when they click there, then they see the mass.
They'll get the, throw in the 150 plus pot. That's kind of an authority thing, but they'll get it, I guess.
It is, but maybe, maybe simplify the way that this is written. Like,
My 150
I would say,
podcast.
I would say appeared on 150 podcasts and get rid of the word Josh has.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Simple stuff like that. Because we're assuming it's you because we've seen you highlighted in a variety of positions. So again, just trying to make it simpler so that I don't have to read the sentence.
Okay.
It's more of a label, like a library card versus like an introduction.
Right.
Again, here, this looks good. I don't see any problems with this one. The only thing that I see, again, is just about the consistency and separation of content. Every one of our header ones should be the same size. Every one of our things in this green bar should be the same structure. If on this one it says services, and then on this one it says agency partnerships and affiliate marketing for PR services to clients for growth, too long. This should go down. This should go down in here. So consistency in our green bar, consistency in our header one content, consistency in things that are either center aligned or left aligned. Things consistently like these headers, all the same sizes and same colors. And then I have a blue border around a gray box here, which I haven't seen on any other part of the site. Again, consistency, make them all like this or all like something else. Again, with your buttons, all consistently, either all caps, all same color, all square, all rounded, whatever, but consistent across all of them. Other things that I think could separate these is I would use horizontal rules. I see a horizontal rule listed here under this bar. So I would suggest maybe popping a horizontal rule maybe in between these different sections, or maybe a horizontal rule to separate this area as opposed to the border.
The box, yeah, okay.
Other than that, the only other thing I'd say about this page is that it's very, very, very text heavy.
It is.
I would try to find a way to condense the text.
I could split it into 2 pages, to be honest with you.
Or split it into multiple pages. Yep, and again, this is in red. We don't see anything anywhere else in red, so get rid of that consistency. Make sure we have that consistency. Other than that, I think that's a pretty solid overview of everything. Those would be my initial thoughts.
Geez, dude, this is gold. All right. Again, upmyinfluence.com/audit. And of course, Brett, beyond this is just, I think an amazing demonstration of just what you have an eye for. But what else would be included in the 2 audit offers that you have? We have linked up at upmyinfluence.com/audit.
The simpler audit, the 495 audit or 499 audit, that audit would be just simply less time. And with these 2 things, really what you're buying is you're buying time. So a smaller audit would involve a slightly shorter initial interview, as well as a slightly shorter report, as well as a slightly shorter overview of that report and application. Really, what you're buying with the larger one is just more depth. Now, if your site has 100 pages, or we want to go into search engine optimization, or we want to go into individual image file names and the way that the text is written and everything that's not surface level that we could take care of in 2 to 3 hours, then we can come up with audits that are higher level for those. Those are just kind of like 2 generic sizes that would probably make sense for most small businesses. Yeah. Really what you're buying is just depth. The smaller one is going to have a little bit less time, a little bit less depth and review of each page. The second one is going to have a longer report, a longer review, more questions, and more understanding of the business, so that I can go truly deep into how is it being sold, not just how can we improve the site for any user. How do we improve it for this specific user?
Yeah, but of course, so again, if you're watching this, you don't have to worry about that right now. I mean, when you go to the link, you're just going to grab a time with Brett, and Brett will help you decide which is appropriate for you.
Correct.
Brett, thank you so much, man. This is incredible. I got pages and pages. I mean, this is like, I got pages and pages of notes, and this is like my second go around in chatting with you. So, man, it is just all spot on. Like, all this stuff makes sense. I got no ego on this. Like, I really just want to get out of, I just want to reduce the friction for my audience, because I want to serve them. And if my website is just causing confusion or it's frustrating, that goes contrary to my purpose.
Yep, exactly. And you're gonna the improvements will do so many things, from It will improve the way that existing clients, that people have already been to your site, it'll improve their experience the next time they're there. It'll make more sense. Your existing clients will have a better experience and will probably know and discover more about your business because it's easier for them to navigate around. You're going to have the ability to find a lot of new people because the way that those users behave with the site will influence the way that your page starts to rank. By improving those things like reducing text amounts and changing fonts, I'm going to spend more time reading because it's easier to digest. More time on the site, more people come, better search position. So you have the benefit of the existing, you have the benefit of the new, and then you also have the benefit that this will save you time talking to people on the phone, questions, emails, and people that are like, where is this? Do you do this? Can you do this? So it saves you time, it makes you more money, it reaches new people, and it properly optimizes and upsells your existing audience. It is influential across the board.
I love it. I love it. Well, Brett, you're Brett Napoli. You're the founder and CEO of ambitioninsight.com. And of course, to connect with Brett, we've had the link on the screen the whole time. You can just go to upmyinfluence.com/audit and just find out how Brett can help you and make sure that your website is becoming your MVP salesperson for your company and doing the job of not just selling, but cultivating and growing that relationship with the audience that you serve. So Brett, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you so much for all the gold. This is amazing, and I'm so grateful for all this great advice. And I'm really excited for all the other discoveries that are going to happen when people go through this process as well with you. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, I do appreciate it, Josh, and thank you for everybody that's paying attention. I do appreciate your time.